Hi everyone, we're going to talk about dance posture for this video, just as a way to remind and refresh yourself. So starting kind of with our feet and working our way up. So from your toes to your hips, I want you to think about pulling up. And what I mean by that is you're creating space between your joints, trying to grow taller. So you're not locking your knees, okay? But everything is just feeling nice and lifted, okay? And then looking at the hips, okay? We want to make sure that we tuck the hips under, okay? Because we're trying to get our back to be straight the way that God made us when we were babies. But what happens over time is we sort of get this curve in our spine, and that happens because we learn to walk. But as dancers, we want to get that spine back to being as straight as possible, and we do that with our posture. So with the hips, okay, it's very important that you are tucking those hips under. Okay, you're trying to create a very straight line. Now, because we have gluteus muscles, also known as your bum, that allows for a little bit of curve for most people, but the point is you want to be tilting that pelvis forward so you can kind of fight that. Now, if you're having trouble seeing or feeling how that would be, what you can do is take a wide second position, take a plie, okay, and then you can practice tilting the pelvis forward, getting that nice straight back, or pressing the pelvis back and getting that curve. So again, we want to get a straight back, so you want to tilt the pelvis forward and then try to keep it right there as you bring the feet closed, okay? Now, as I had said before, because we've got these gluteus muscles back here, there will be some curvature in our lower spine, but we're trying to fight that. So with your spine tucked under there at the hip area, next thing we want to focus on is the abs, okay? So we want to keep our abs engaged, meaning the muscles are working, okay? And the muscles that we have in our abs, we've got ones that go like this, the classic six-pack. We've got ones that make an X. We've got ones that come across us like a giant seatbelt. We also have the obliques, and I'm sure there's a bunch of other smaller muscles too. Those are some of the main groups. So as you engage your abs, you should still though be able to breathe comfortably. So this is not about sucking in or holding your breath. It's about keeping those abs engaged, okay? So I'm just gonna show you what I look like when I don't engage my abs, and you'll see that I look very different. So if I let my stomach out, okay, because I'm not engaging my abs, okay, my posture and my stature look very different. But as I engage my abs, I kind of knit all those muscles in, okay, I look a bit different. All right, moving on to the ribs, okay? It's very important that we keep our ribs closed, okay? That kind of helps keep our spine where it needs to be. If we splay the ribs, okay, we're now creating less of a straight spine. So we want to close those ribs together, okay? Moving on up, our shoulders. We want our shoulders to be right over our hips, okay? And we want them to be pressing back and down, okay? But we do want to be careful that we don't do it so much that we also open up our ribs, okay? So we want to make sure that everything is nice and aligned how we stand. Moving on, we want our neck to be nice, long, and tall. So think again about creating space between each of those vertebrae and the neck, just like we did for the feet, starting from the toes to the hips, okay? And to finish off, okay, you're gonna lift the chin just a little bit beyond parallel, okay? Sometimes you might be able to think of this as, kind of looking snooty just a little bit, but this allows us to create the most amount of space between all of our joints, and to just be really, really tall, and it helps to kind of wake up our muscles too. So this is the posture that we want to get whenever we're dancing, but especially ballet. And then we also want to incorporate this posture just into everyday life, because it's a really, really good thing. All right, and some of you might be struggling with posture because your pectoral muscles are actually a little bit more tight, okay? That's where you see a lot of people kind of like this, okay? It's because their chest muscles have contracted and they're not really stretched out. So one of the ways you can do that to stretch out those pectoral muscles is interlace the fingers, okay, and press back, looking up, okay? And if you're not there with that yet, you can also use a door to help you. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So I can stand just outside the door. I'm going to bring my arms out, okay, and I'm going to walk in as far as I can comfortably. I'm going to press my shoulders down. Okay, and I feel my pectoral muscles expanding, and I want you to really focus on the breath when you do this, okay? And you want to hold it for a solid 30 seconds at least, okay? And then as you try this again, you should be able to get a little bit further to really stretch out those muscles. And by doing that stretch, it should make your posture a little bit easier to achieve. Okay? And if you're waking up your dance posture again, start simple. Maybe you really focus on your posture, of course, when you're dancing, but maybe you focus on it, when you're brushing your teeth, or maybe when you're going for a walk or taking the dog out for a walk. So lots of options, but start rethinking about that posture if you haven't in a while. Have a good day.